This is Sean with Team Breitenberg. So I'm going to go over some of our communication diagrams, then our implementation class model, and finally our implementation. So for the book public tour, what we're doing is we're getting a customer and we're finding a tour as well. And the reason why we're getting a customer is because we just need to add it to that customer's reservation list a little bit later on. So once we find the customer in the tour, we need to get the number of seats from the tour. We need to compare it really with the number of seats the customer wants to book. And if they can book it, then, well, first I guess if they can't book it because of not enough seats, then they're notified about that. Otherwise, a new reservation is created for them. All right, so looking at create private overland tour, there's a few more things that need to happen. So specifically, a bus and a driver need to be found, kind of the first available bus or driver. And then with this one, a new tour is created, but also a new reservation. Since the reason why we did this is because the only reason a customer will, like a new private overland tour will be created is if a customer requested it, and thus a new reservation will be made for them, like specifically. And then we needed to add the reservation and the tour to a few different collections, like for add the reservation of the tour to the customer data, the driver data, and the bus. Or I guess not collections, but just these specific instances, sorry. So also, there's all these notifications about, if basically if the tour was, well, there was no there was no condition, so pretty much all of this happened, right? The customer was notified, the driver was notified of success, and the scheduler was notified. All right, so the registered customer was pretty simple. What we did is we kind of looked to see if a customer exists in the customer data collection, and if they do exist, then of course we need to send a notification to them that they do already exist, they already have an account. Otherwise, if they don't exist, then you would create a new customer and just add it to that customer data's collection, and then just send a message. All right, so let's look at the implementation class model. This was a little bit more, this is kind of big, right? It's kind of lengthy, so I'm not really going to go in detail over a lot of this, but I just want to point out that our control classes are singletons, so we have like the get instance methods, we have the instances. And one other thing to notice, I think, is that there's a lot of other control classes within the control class. So like, for example, managed customers has managed tours, and managed tours has like, oh, I guess those are entities, but they have managed customers and managed bus and drivers. And then they have collections within there. We decided not to do collection classes. We decided to just have arrays or hash tables in our implementation. So like with tours and tour requests. So anyway, let's go to the actual implementation. I just want to go over two implementations, which is the create private overland tour, and then another one later on. So first, the create private overland tour, we pass in all the attributes. We find the customer, we find the bus, we find the driver, and then we actually create the new tour, and we add that new tour to the appropriate places, and we also create a new reservation and add that to the appropriate list, and then we call a method to notify the driver and the customer. All right, so the other, I guess, method I want to go over is register customer. So with this one, you see the Boolean exists, which was in that communication diagram. So if the customer does not exist, then you create the new customer, you put it in their collection, and then we can tell them the registration was successful. Otherwise, it wasn't because they already exist. So that's really all I wanted to go over. So thank you for watching.